Hi everybody. Today I'm going to be doing a question and answers period. And if you have any questions you'd like me to address or any thoughts about who I could try to talk to or ask questions of or find out something about something, feel free to put your questions down in the comments, either here on YouTube or on Facebook. And I've also got my email listed underneath YouTube if you would like to reach out that way. If you like today's video, please subscribe. Don't forget to like. And next to the subscribe button, when you subscribe, there's a little bell. You can click on the bell, then you'll get notifications when I put out a new video. And we've had a lot of new viewers recently between YouTube and Facebook, and I appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much for watching and being part of this this experience, this experiment, whatever this might be. Hi, I'm Joe Shepard, and this is the Fractal Realms. So today I'm going to do a question and answer session. It's been almost a year since I did a question and answer session, and I'd actually like to do more of that, but I've been very busy doing a lot of videos, and I thank everybody very much for their participation in helping me along and getting those videos made and the subject matter. And I invite anyone who has any thoughts on future subject matter to go ahead and make suggestions, because I'd like you to be able to see videos that pertain to things that you find interesting. But for today, one of the first things I would like to go over is, on the last question and answer video that I did, I talked about why I was doing this. But I gave very short-term information, what I was doing right then and there, and what I was trying to accomplish. So I'd like to go way back and tell you more about it, because it might help some of you to understand some things about yourselves. And if you go way back to when I was a kid, I was always hearing a voice in my head, actually more than one. There was one on each side. And the conversation wasn't one way with me and this person and me and that person. The conversation was between all three. And I was doing very well in school. It was very helpful to be able to hear those voices, because they helped me reason out the answers to questions. They often just explained things to me that I wasn't getting. And as a kid, I thought, well, this is just how I think. Not a big deal. Maybe or maybe not other people are thinking the same way. Maybe that's how their thought processes work. But any way you look at it, it's really nothing for me to worry about, because that's just how it works. And that's how my brain works. And so I went along with that for a very long time, up through my 20s, and even in maybe early 30s. And one day I do a lot of reading, and one day I read the book Sybil. And Sybil is about one of the first documented cases of a person with multiple personality disorder. And I read that book, and I read the description, and I said, oh my God, a lot of these things are very similar to me in the way there's these other identities interacting with her. And suddenly I said, wow, this isn't just normal. This isn't just the way I think. This is me going nuts. So So I put an end to it. I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't squelch. I told those voices, they're just a part of me, and that's it. I don't have to converse in this way. It's not going to go down this way. And within a relatively quick period of time, those voices ended. And then years later came. I was in my let's say early 50s. And suddenly I'm watching Ghost Hunters. I'm watching Amy Allen with the Dead Files. I'm watching, I forget his name. There's a psychic that I like that's great. And there's all these people on TV talking to things that aren't there and telling you things about things they couldn't possibly know. And I thought, well, I don't know what's so impressive about that, because hell, I was doing that all my life and I got rid of it because I thought I was crazy. And so I started to think, hey, seeing what they're doing, maybe I wasn't crazy. Maybe I am, I don't know. And so I set out to start doing that again, to figure out how, it took me 6 months to get rid of those voices. What's it going to take to get them back? And so I started reading on that sort of subject matter, and I started meditating. And I meditated every day for years and years, and those voices weren't coming back. I imagined that they were there, those other entities that were talking to me, but they weren't there and they weren't talking to me. Then I went, I don't know what year it was. I'm going to say 2019. So now maybe 18. And I'm in my mid to late 50s at that point. And I took a Reiki class, which was something that was actually suggested on one of those programs that it was the Dead Files. It was Amy Allen. Amy Allen had frequently called on a Reiki master to help people with the problems that they were having. And I was always very curious about, well, what is this Reiki master thing that she's talking about? And so I had the opportunity to learn Reiki through a very qualified teacher. And as soon as I started doing that, I mean, within weeks, within days of me starting, having passed my level 1 Reiki, that all of a sudden those voices were coming back. Not only were those voices coming back, but I could speak to entities that I hadn't spoken to before, and that was working as well. And another thing that I hadn't mentioned, through most of my life, I've had I have a sleep disorder, and in that sleep disorder, I very quickly can go into a dream. And I quickly, I can watch TV show, I can fall sound asleep in that TV show, and people tell me I'm sleeping, my eyes are closed, yet they wake me. I can tell you everything that was going on in that TV show. I can tell you what they were saying. I can tell you what they were wearing, or where the sets were, and what they were doing. And that always seemed awfully strange, that all right, I know that I'm asleep, but yet somehow I'm still seeing what's going on, and what I'm seeing that's going on is accurate. So now, having covered that little tidbit, when I started talking to these entities, I found it very easy for me to just close my eyes, and I was being pulled away into a setting that wasn't the setting that I was sitting in, and it was very easy to suddenly start seeing these images and these visions. So that is really in the previous question and answer, I told you short term why I'm doing this. And this answer is not so much directly why I'm doing videos, but it's more about me. It might be something about you. And if you're asking, how do I do this? How do you do this? You need to start listening to those voices in your head. Those voices are talking to you. They're telling you, and sometimes and you're just not hearing it. Okay, and so I think that's the whole story. Now between those two videos and a couple of other comments along the way, I think I pretty much beat that one down. I made myself a list of questions. All right, who are my guides? I have a spirit guide named Ben. Ben has been with me all of my life. Every psychic that I have ever met or seen or interacted with has told me that they're very much aware of Ben. And Ben was a very dear friend of mine from a previous life. There's some question as to whether he was not like a butler or maybe even a driver. Maybe he doesn't talk about that. He didn't tell me that. That's coming from other psychics that I've interacted with. But the newer, and the other entity that I was telling you a minute ago, I had one on each side. Ben is the left. The right side's never come back. That side, well, he has come back, but he doesn't talk. And I'm not inclined to listen, only because typically everything with him is a debate, and I'm not interested in the debate. Newer guides, people that I've tried to introduce myself to and interact with, and in the videos in the last, 3-4 months, I've told you that I interact with Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. And when I met those 4 angels, initially I would say they were very much before I did the Reiki, when I was imagining I was talking to them and I couldn't really get anything out of it, I would say they were very statuesque, very much like you would imagine if you were in a religious church or place with statues. They were very statuesque angels. That's what I saw. After I started taking the Reiki, those 4 angels became more of a very robust, bright light, very much more like the paintings of an angel, like you would imagine. Wow, this is an intense light. This is such an intense light that you can feel the light. You could feel that energy in the room around you. One day, I asked them if they could take a form that I could understand and interact with better, and they did that. They did that almost instantly, with the exception of Uriel. I don't know if I mentioned Uriel when I went around the room. Uriel took a while, and so when I see Michael, I see him almost like a Billy the Kid kind of long leather coat, Billy the Kid kind of looking character, cowboy hat. When I see Gabriel, I see one of 2 things. Either he still appears as a bright light. He kind of likes that. I think he's fairly flashy, and well, he likes what he does and who he does, who he represents himself as, and so I still see him that way. But at times I also see him with very long blonde hair in a silvery white, best I could say would be a jumpsuit, and about the same height as me. They all are about the same height as me. I've heard other people say that angels are very tall, and I have seen that as well in someone I did a video with 3 or 4 months ago. But in the way they represent themselves to me, no, I don't see them as super tall. Raphael, he's wearing a purplish robe. It's hooded. He can be very funny. He can be interpreted as very funny. And we'll get into that someday. He can be very funny in the way he interacts with people. But and Uriel for the longest time appeared to me just as a flame, and I started picturing him, trying to picture. Can you appear to me in a form that I can recognize and understand? And he sort of switched to that. There's I think it's called Fantastic Four character whose superpower is all flames, and he started to appear to me just as a person with flames. And then later on, he appeared to me as, let's see, what appears to be a 12 or 13-year-old, somewhere around this high. Again, similar to Gabriel with long blonde hair. He doesn't appear that way very often, but I do know that that's him. If I see him that way, most of the time I still see him as a flame. And you see when I'm talking that I'm pointing, because this is where they appear to me all the time. I talked to them for many months. I had, in the previous video, I told you I was writing down what they said. And for many months, many months, I talked to them. And then I started to say, all right, who else can I talk to? And I met Raziel. And Raziel when I see him, he's very two-dimensional. Like if you walk, if you were to walk to look at his side, you probably wouldn't see him at all. He's very two-dimensional. I look at him, and when you do look at him, it's like a powerful prism of light. You see the angel in the person, but mostly you see this prism of colors. And Raziel has helped me on things where I was trying to understand the nature of existence. Now, then I started to say, all right, I can see Raziel. Who else can I see? Can I see characters that, well, all these characters, are at some point or another is considered to be a fictitious character by most people, or many people, people with little faith. But I said, can I really get in there and look at what really is a fictitious character, in the sense that even the people who believe in the angels will probably think this is a fictitious character. And so I reached out and I looked for an elf, and I met an elf, and he wasn't at all quite like I imagined. He's short. He wears what is very similar to what a monk would wear, just brown robe. When he is that way, it's very difficult to see his face. The robe hangs low. But oftentimes I see him when he's not interacting with me directly, but he is present, he will appear as a small animal. Often a little dog, a cat, or a squirrel. I've also seen him as larger animals. They actually made me laugh. And then, so who else? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last person. So I'm a boater. occurred to me, well, what about Poseidon or Neptune or that sort of entity, someone related to the boating? And so I reached out to Poseidon. And what I learned from Poseidon was very, very fast. Changed my image of and perception of reality and the world. But he doesn't really talk to me directly a lot. A lot of what I get from him is just imagery, but that imagery is so intense, and the information about what that imagery is about comes to me. I don't hear a voice. I don't hear speaking. It's just very intense and comes to me just like that. So that is. All right. So one time, as an experiment, I said, all right, what if I tried to talk to Peter Pan? Because now you're really getting into fiction. Now you're really getting into fiction. And I said, is it possible to interact with fictitious characters in an infinite universe where all things happen and all things exist? That's what infinite means. Does the character in a novel exist somewhere and in some plane of existence? So I reached out to Peter Pan. That worked very well. Didn't last very long. He was going to take me on a soul journey, just like in the book. I was going to go out the window, psychically, what I'm seeing in a vision. And I realized that as an adult, my perspective is that of the pirates in that story. And I thought, you know what? I can't go into that story with Peter Pan, not because it wasn't possible, but because I don't think that I would get out of it what I was hoping to get out of it. And what I was hoping to get out of it is this wonderful Never Never Land kind of story. And I think what I would have gotten out of it is more the horrors of being a pirate. So I didn't do that. I stopped that and ended it right there. But that is the cast of characters. I'm really hoping to expand that cast of characters. I have a list of probably 15 or 20 people that I would like to talk to and video, and let's see how that goes. Another question. Now, this is not a question that. So this question was not asked to me directly. It was sort of an amalgamate of ideas. What do I see when I soul journey? So when I soul journey and I'm moving out and I connect to a client's spiritual energy, what I'm seeing, I'm entering what I believe to be an astral plane. And in that astral plane, I'm seeing a mix of reality, a mix of dreams, a mix of future and past. It's a mixture of things that I have to try to figure out what it is I'm seeing and why am I seeing it. And in one case I didn't film. For example, I was on a distant Reiki, doing a distant healing, and I was seeing this person on the other side of the country, and what I saw happening was this black, I want to say a monster, but it was a black, sticky, gooey monster, and he was stretching from wall to wall and moving by hitting the wall and moving on. And in my head I said, I know what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the character Venom from the Spider-Man movie, or the Venom movie. And I thought, all right, well, so I tried to interpret that. What is that telling me? What's that all about? And I described it to the client, and the client said, oh my God, Venom's on my TV in the living room. And so I was actually seeing what was on her television set, and I saw it not on the television set, but I saw it moving around her living room. And so it's very difficult for me at this point to know the difference between those, and that's something I'm learning. And I appreciate everybody's help in helping me develop these skills. But that kind of tells you what it is that I'm seeing. Some of it's real, some of it's dreams, some of it is memory of the client. It's up, and some of it is just a pictorial representation of some situation going on in that person's life. And so that's what I'm seeing. Let's see, my next question was, what does "this is your life's purpose" mean? That came from a card that said, "This is your life's purpose." And what that means is that's a response to the question, am I going in the right direction? Is what I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Maybe that typically means you're being reluctant to move in a certain direction, and you need to take a leap of faith and move in that direction, because the card's telling you this is part of this is absolutely what you are supposed to be doing. So when you hear "this is your life's purpose," what that's telling you is to stop holding back. Stop being afraid. Stop holding back. You're going in the direction you were always supposed to be going in. You're okay. I hope that answers that question, because I think a question, depending on the context of how that card comes up or how that idea comes up, it can mean a whole lot of different things to a whole lot of different people. So saying it in the way I just said it is the best answer I can give you. It's saying you're holding back, don't hold back, you're okay. Go in that direction because you need to. And the last question, why do psychics always see abstract things? Why not ask what are tomorrow's lottery numbers? It would be wonderful. I know that, this is a common question. Why is somebody who's doing a prophecy always so cryptic? Why is the psychic always say something that doesn't exist? Now, it's not really specific and it's a little bit generic. Well, I think I explained that in telling you what it is that I see. Somehow I get all of these images that are coming from the client, and I have to figure out what all those images represent. Because that's how spirit talks. That's how spirit interacts. Spirit interacts in ideas. Our brains, when you find your ability to communicate with spirit, our brains interpret the idea. Our soul, our astral, our aura, our field of energy, this is all interpreting that idea. And I could hold up this is a glasses case. I can show you this glasses case. And now you have to interpret what I mean. I could mean, if I were a spirit talking to you and I show you this, I could be saying, you need to go get glasses. I could be saying, you've lost your glasses. I could be saying there's a little black box that you need to look for. I could be saying that in the future you're going to have eye problems. I could be saying that, well, that's the idea. I think I've said enough examples. So that's why you don't get lottery numbers that go with 21 and 15 and 43, because you're being given an idea and you have to refine that idea into something that makes sense. And that's a very difficult thing to learn to do, especially if somebody's giving you the idea of 44. Maybe let's say if somebody's giving you the idea of 111. Now, to just give you that idea, 111, how would they do that? How would they give you the number? They might, and then this happens a lot where people see numbers repetitively on a phone, on a clock, on TV. But it's trying to give you, the name of a medication. Supposing I could show you a prescription. There's an idea of a prescription. I can say, oh, you need a prescription, or you're late getting your medicine from the pharmacy, or stop taking that medicine. But what is that medicine? Have you ever seen the names of the names they give to medication? Try to get that out of an idea. Anyway, so this was very interesting. I hope you had fun, and have a great day.